Hey guys, welcome back to another exciting video. So if you're new on this platform, my name is Jacque-belle and thank you for stopping by, and for my old time subscribers, you guys are awesome. I truly appreciate your love and concern. So today I'm just gonna be sharing with you some tips that you can do to prevent a cakey makeup. Okay, like sometimes few hours or minutes after we apply our makeup, it appears cakey. I don't know how to explain that, but sometimes when you look at your face after applying your makeup, it feels like your face is so thick, like it's not smooth. Okay, so I'm gonna be sharing with you some tips that I do for my makeup to appear this smooth, flawless, and sun-kissed. So basically, I have 6 steps that I'm gonna be sharing with you. So if you're interested, keep watching. But before we do that, if you're not part of the family yet, go ahead and hit the subscribe button down below because I love to have you in my crew. And also hit the bell, that way you'll be notified each time new video goes up. Alright, y'all, so like I mentioned earlier, we're just gonna be talking about some few steps that you can do to avoid your makeup from being cakey few minutes or after or hours after you apply your makeup. Makeup is one of those things that definitely has no rules, but you still want to make sure you do what is best for your skin so you get like a skin line or flawless makeup at the end. So I have a few steps that I'm gonna talk about that work for me. It might work for me and it might not work for you. So you just want to know your skin type, your skin tone, and what works best for you. So first, what I'm gonna talk about is moisture. Like before I started wearing makeup, I used to think that the best way to like avoid like oil coming out from your face after you apply your makeup is just to have like a very dry skin. Don't apply any lotion on it. But that was all wrong because our skin needs some sort of hydration, y'all. I know I've said this in my previous video. Like you have to make sure you hydrate your skin as much as you can because you're just adding nutrients. Think about it like having a fan. I mean, if you don't water your products, they're not gonna do well. So you just have to make sure you moisturize your face as much as you can. Add some hydration. It doesn't matter if you have oily or dry skin, regardless of your skin type. You have to make sure you moisturize your skin. If you want your makeup to be flawless, for it not to cake up on you, you have to make sure you moisturize your skin. And it doesn't matter what moisturizer you use, the bottom line is we want to moisturize our face. So there's so many moisturizers out there. For me, I like to go in with this. And I mean, if you've been on this channel, you know this is my moisturizer, the vitamin C moisturizer. It has aloe vera in it. I just like products that has natural stuff or natural ingredients in them. So you can use whatever moisturizer that works best for you. For me, this is what works best for me. You can even use like your lotion, like whatever you use after you take a shower, that's still moisture. All we want to do is add moisture into the skin. So I'm just gonna like apply it all over my face. And the second step I'm gonna talk about is primer. I know like I cannot say how many times I've mentioned priming the lips, the face, the eyelids, and everywhere. Primer. Like I used to just like They used to say ignorance is a bad thing. It is true. Like I used to just jump right up to makeup, no moisture, no primer. But I'm glad I know better. So you want to make sure to prime your face as much as you can. Again, I'm gonna talk about the skin type. If you know your skin type, I mean, it's gonna help you achieve that sun-kissed, flawless makeup at the end. Okay, so we have like dry skin, oily, and a combination of both. I already said that in one of my videos. Okay, so if you have like oily skin, you want to go in with like mattifying primers, and if you have dry skin, you want to go in with hydrating primers, and if you have a combination of both, you want to go in with like products that have both mattifying and hydrating primer. But regardless, I mean, it also depends on the season. Like me, I have oily skin, but when like it start transitioning to like winter, my skin break out. So I turn to use like more of like hydrating stuff for my skin. So you just want to know what works best for your skin. And today I'm gonna be using my Milk Hydro Grip Primer. Type is gonna help you do it's gonna help you pick out those products that are best for your skin. That's the second. The right formulas to use is another thing you want to know or you want to do to prevent your makeup from being cakey. So when I say right formulas, it's just like okay, like for example, you use like a hydrating primer and then you go in with like an oil-based foundation. That is not gonna work because it's just like water and oil. We all know water and oil don't go too well. They're not friends. So after using a hydrating primer and you're going with an oil-based foundation, you cannot have that smooth blend. Like it's not gonna blend too well on your skin and you're gonna end up having a cakey makeup at the end of the day. So what you wanna know if you going with like a hydrating primer, just be sure and use like a water-based foundation or if you're going like with um mattifying primer, you wanna make sure to go in, with primers that foundation that has oil based. So just make sure you choose your product well. I mean, choose the right formulas for your makeup. So I'm gonna go in today with this foundation from Elf to for my foundation. And another thing is like what you use to apply your makeup. You know, sometimes I use a beauty blender for my foundation, and sometimes I use brushes. But if you've been with me, you know I mostly use brushes. The reason is because my skin is oily, so already the oil on my face is gonna make the brush damp for my makeup application. But nonetheless, whenever I choose to use a beauty blender, I have to make sure it's damp. Okay, like is damp a little to add a little more moisture to the formula or the foundation I'm going in with. It just gives you that smooth blend at the end. And whenever I use a brush, I still have to go back in with a beauty blender to just make sure I have a good blend at the end. So it just depends on what works best for you, or not really what works best for you, but it depends on your skin type. So I'm using this foundation from Elf today. That way I don't have too much. And another thing we want to know is like the next step is to avoid putting too much product on your skin. I mean, people used to think that not only people, I used to think that applying too much product like foundation on your skin is the key to having a flawless makeup at the end. On the contrary, too much product on your face it can help the cakiness of your makeup. So you want to make sure you apply just a little, and then you can build the coverage as you go. That way you don't have too much product on your skin. And the next step is like avoiding the areas that you crease the most, like under my eyes and around my smile line. I don't put too much product on those areas. Like I just avoid those areas completely. And then whatever is left on the brush or the beauty blender, I can just go over those places. So as you can see, like I completely avoid it under my eyes by applying the foundation because I know I tend to crease a lot underneath my eyes. Now I'm gonna use whatever is left on this brush to just go over my eyes, under my eyes with that. Now for concealer, I'm gonna use my concealer from Elle for highlight. This is the 16-hour Camo Concealer, by the way, and this is the Deep Cinnamon. So I'm gonna go back in with my foundation brush, just blend everything, make sure I don't have straight lines on my face. And for extra highlights, because I like my highlight to be super, so I'm gonna go in with this extra concealer. It's still from ELF, the 16-hour Camo, but this is the shade Walnut, just because I want that extra highlight. I mean, if you don't like, you don't have to do this. So we talked about too much product, and so I'm gonna let that sit for a little bit, and then I'm gonna apply my contour, and I'm using this um L Putty bronzers, but I pretty the shades is not really what I want for a brown, so I'm gonna contour my face with this, and I'm using clean beauty blender. And with my contour, like I like to like focus around the areas where I have those shadows on my face. Like if you flip your face this way, you see those shadows. So I like to start around those areas and then just work my way down. So the highlight and the contour is done. So the next thing you want to remember is setting. Okay, like we have to set. The reason why we set is for makeup not to shift in the process, and you can set with like two forms of powder. You can either use a loose powder like this one, or you can use a loose powder in a compact form. So I like to use a loose setting powder and a loose finishing powder. Thus, the setting powder will definitely like let your makeup stay in place. It's gonna set it so it don't move. And the finishing powder, what it does is like blur out any fine lines or discolor discolorations you have on your face after applying your makeup, and it helps your makeup stays longer as well. And before you set, you want to make sure you get rid of all the creases underneath your eyes. If not, you're gonna be setting those creases. Reasons why sometimes even though we set our face, we still have creases because we're just setting those creases. So you want to make sure you get rid of all the creases. So what I do, I just use the same beauty blender that I use to blend my concealer, and then just make sure I get rid of all the crease before I go in with the setting powder. If not, you're gonna be setting the creases. And I'm using my setting powder from Laura Mercier. You don't want to do too much, so I take a little at the on my beauty blender and then just tap out the excess at the back of my hand before I set. And I'm basically like pressing, and I'm not rubbing it. So now we're gonna use the um, loose finishing powder. So what I do, I just basically use this underneath my eyes. In for a reverse contour. I mean, you can use the beauty sponge that you use to blend out your concealer for your reverse contour, but I just like using this loose finishing powder for my reverse contour because I like the way it makes my makeup appear flawless. Last but not least, the sixth step that you can use to prevent a cakey makeup is to use a setting spray. Okay, so again, you want to use a setting spray depending on your skin type. If you have oily skin, you want to go for oil-free setting spray. If you have dry skin, you want to go in for hydrating setting spray. As y'all know, this is my baby. It just makes my makeup appear flawless. And the reason we use a setting spray is just like it melts all the powder on your face. Like it makes your makeup appear less ashy, it makes it appear less cakey, and it makes your makeup last longer. It's not just for like decoration. That's a reason why we use a setting spray. Okay, so this is a step you don't want to miss if you really want your makeup to be less cakey and less ashy. So I'm using this Kindanelier makeup finishing spray to spray my face. So I always like to go back in with the beauty sponge and just like press down into my skin and try to like blend it out because you don't want to leave too many straight lines on your face. So I always go in like with the beauty sponge. Make sure I blend the highlight and the blush together and just press that setting spray into my skin. That way you're not doing too much, okay? We're just like patting. Alright, y'all, this is the final look of this tutorial. So I'll just go over the 6 steps that I mentioned. So the first one is to make sure you moisturize your face as much as you can. Try to add some nutrients because that's all what hydration or moisture means. Like you're adding nutrients into your skin so you can have a healthy, flawless and non-cakey makeup at the end. And secondly, you want to prime. Okay, and your primer, you just have to choose your primer based on your skin type, if you have oily, dry, or a combination of both. So I have a video already on skin types and the kind of primer you want to use. And the third step is to make sure you use minimal product. Try not to put too much product on your skin because that's a mistake we all make. We think adding or putting applying too much product on our face or on our faces gives us a good makeup but I think that's wrong because I was doing it before. So try to use as minimal product as you can and try to build up your product as you go. So if you're using a foundation, try to apply at the back of your hand and then apply, put it on your face before you can use your brush or beauty blender to blend it out. Just build your product as you go. Try to avoid areas where you crease. So if you're applying foundation, try to avoid like your under eyes, your smile lines. And once you're done applying it on the rest of your face, then you can use whatever is left on your brush or your beauty sponge to just go over those areas where you crease the most. All of this will avoid cakey makeup at the end. And the next thing you want to do is make sure you set. Okay, we have to set. If you setting your face with a finishing loose finishing powder or a loose setting powder, just make sure you're going for which one works best for your skin. There's so many types out there. And do not forget to spray. Okay, a lot of people try to miss this step, spraying their faces. I mean, it's not just for fancy. This makeup finishing spray, what it does, it helps melt the powder on your face, okay? It melts everything down and it prevents your makeup from being ashy and it makes it non-cakey. So all of these are just the most important ones that works for me. I'm pretty sure the other steps out there that's gonna work for you if these don't work. So just try them. It might work for you. As you can see, my face still looks fresh, sun-kissed, and smooth, not ashy or non-cakey. So that's the essence of our makeup. So all of these 6 steps that I mentioned are the most important ones that I think and I know works for me. It makes my makeup appears flawless and stay longer and appears non-cakey at the end. So y'all, if you enjoyed this video as much as I did, do not forget to give your girl a massive thumbs up and also subscribe to this channel if you haven't done that already because I love to have you in my crew, sorry. And do not forget to hit the notification bell. That way you'll be notified each time new video goes up. Thank you guys so much for hanging out with me today and I will see you guys in my next one. Bye bye.